topics that aren't talked about enough in our community, or they are spoken about from the older generation. We feel this platform can help many of you understand what goes in the life of teenagers and their perspectives.
We hope we can inspire you guys to message in your experiences, and we will make them anonymous if you wish. If you want to call in, our telephone number is 01902 972 150. And if you would like to text any messages, text on our WhatsApp number 07440 420 432. But remember, you cannot call on WhatsApp. We would also love you guys to message in your questions, any topics you want us to discuss.
So today we are going to introduce you guys to our new series, which will be discussing all things related to extracurricular activities. We have decided to do this on our next topic for our next topic because there are so many activities and careers out there for many of us that you may have not even thought about, which are the right ones for you and your lifestyle.
By asking someone about their hobby, it has tremendous value because we will not only learn about that specific field of work, but we will also learn about the industry as a whole. By learning how someone got where they are in a field and by seeing it, you would enjoy their work and receive advice from an expert in that field. You can even learn how to structure your own career goals, so it would be amazing if you guys could interact with us and send in any questions you have on this topic.
For our first episode, we are going to talk about media, and we have our guest who is going to talk about her voluntary role and what it takes to get there, and many more different aspects of her interest in media. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, ladies, and good afternoon, listeners as well. Yes, I'm a guest on the Teen Talk Show, and I am Alvina Ali.
So we have different questions for you so our listeners can see and understand how it is like to do the role that you play with your interests. So our first question is, can you give us a simple explanation of what your job is?
Right, okay. As many of you know, I'm a radio presenter, and radio presenters are also known as radio jockeys as well, which is another name given to someone in my profession as well. Okay. Now, the role of mine is to provide entertainment to our listeners through conversation and music, and I tend to play that, and every music song obviously conveys a message as well in an attractive and sophisticated way as well. So as a radio presenter, my job is to host and broadcast shows. No doubt, as you teen hosts know what it involves now that you're taking over the reins here at Ramadan Radio. I'm a host and I broadcast shows as well on radio and over the internet, as with Ramadan Radio. And my role involves playing music from around the world, conversations, interviews, topics and stories as well. And radio presenters work mainly in a studio, as you know, but with the Ramadan Radio it's a bit different, where you've got Radio Co and you can broadcast from home live as well as sending pre-records in as well and things like that. So in other cases as well, I'm usually involved in outside live broadcasts as well, which is something new that we will be bringing onto Ramadan Radio as well.
Wow, that's very, really nice insight.
Thank you.
So our next question is, what attracted you to this field of work?
What if I says to you the word buzz?
Buzz.
And mystery. So that's what really attracted me to in this field of work, being a radio presenter and being the unique voice being the unique voice in someone's house as well. Yeah. That's quite nice, isn't it? Because you're part of their family as well. So so I was in a studio surrounded by four walls and a mic as my companion in those days, and hearing your voice, the listeners were very inquisitive. And there was an attraction, and they wanted to know more about the person who is behind the mic and form a bond with you. They'd like to form a relationship with you as well. Yeah. So they made me feel like a radio personality celebrity, as I would say.
Oh, that's really nice.
So going back many years, when I started, there was no social media. There was no Facebook, there was no cameras. I mean, okay, there were cameras, but you record, but you couldn't transmit live in those days. Yeah. And every household as well, they had a car with a radio in there, and they had a radio at home, and also the youngsters, the teenagers, we all had like the Walkman, the mini radios and things. So that was our only way of tuning into the radio presenters and listening into them. So yeah, if I said the word buzz, mystery, and being the voice in someone's household.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
very, very nice to hear. So how did you begin your radio journey?
Funnily, I just happened to stumble into it. So a friend of mine was working at a radio station in sales, and she used to go out to many outdoor events in the weekends. And because I never used to have much to do, I used to tag along with her, and I used to help her with the marketing that they used to do.
Yeah.
And the station manager noticed that I was helping out quite a bit, and I was interacting with the public, and he came over to me and he says, would you be interested in becoming a radio presenter? And for a moment, I thought he was just having a laugh, just making conversation.
Yeah.
But when I looked at that, he was quite serious. I thought, okay. I says, I'll be interested. I says, what do I need to do? And he's all you got to do is just come over, do a voiceover, which I went, did a voiceover, and it all started from there.
Wow. How long have you worked in this industry?
I'm going to say over 18 years, but there's more. To let you into a little secret, it's been 18 years. So I'm still here, and yes, it's just getting more and more interesting. Media is as time goes by. It's interesting area to be in, and you know what? You never get bored of topics.
Yes, I think it's really impressive how you can be on the radio for so long and still have such a big passion and interest for it.
And not run out of things to say.
That's it. You know, you can never run out of things to say on radio.
So could you give us a run through of what you do in your show?
Right. Okay. Yes. Most listeners will know me for running a late night Sunday show from 10 o'clock at night. It's a 3-hour show on Radio XL, and I do the Love Express, and I use a stage name, which is DJ Ashiki. For those who don't know, DJ Ashiki stands for the word love as well. So all my preparation is done during the morning of the day of the show, which is going to be aired at night. And I do 5 features. And for the first hour, I do the love topic, which is about love and relationships, because it's a Love Express that I do. And also, it's where I drop a big question on love. So it's to do with love, relationships. And there's so much topic areas regarding to love. Because I remember when I first started, people used to say to me, they go, are you sure you'll be able to carry on with this show and talk about love for every week when you come and stuff like that?
Yeah.
But like we said, love is a very, very broad area, and there's loads of things that you can talk about and things. So then I thought, right, okay, I'm going to stick to the love topic, and then I'll be dropping the big question on love. That usually drops in about 10:20. And then if I had an artist, for example, they wanted to do an interview with me, I thought of another feature with that 10:20 slot. So I used to alternate them because it's not all the time that I would get an artist coming into the show. So I sort of came up with a brand which was Dosti with DJ Ashki. It's a bit like Coffee with Karan.
Oh, yeah.
So I do interview with artists and celebrities. It could be people from drama. It could be anybody from TV as well. And I get the artist there then to sign a mug and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a heart-shaped book because it's a Love Express, and I get them to autograph it as well at the same time.
Oh, that's really nice.
So so if you go onto my Facebook, you will see all that and stuff. So I should have brought it in actually, shouldn't I? Yeah. And guess who signed it as an A-lister as well?
Who?
Priyanka Chopra.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got loads of Bollywood artists, I've got singers, I've got local bands from Wolverhampton, Birmingham, everywhere all over UK who have signed it and stuff. I'm really kicking myself now. I should have really bought it in. So those are the 2 10:20 slots. And then about 10:40 I do DJ Ashki's Love Song of the Week. So it could be anything from a latest new film. It could be an artist who's released a new song who I'm doing the interview with. If it's love related, I will play it straight after the interview. If not, then I will play it afterwards as well. So that's what happens in the first hour. And then in the second hour, I do the listeners' love stories. And this is where listeners are given the opportunity to submit their love story, because everyone's love story is different. And it's all about how two people have met, the ups and downs that they might have in their relationship. It could be things in the family that's affected their relationship. You must listen out for these love stories, and maybe you can get your parents to share their love stories as well. And then the third hour is after midnight. I call it the pillow talk hour. And this is where I do the love scopes. So these are like your weekly love horoscopes, which are about your love prediction for the week. So I do that as well. So there are other features as well. And they can be found on my website, which is 3ws.djashki.com. And that tells you about me, gives you a bit about my bio, and it gives loads of other subject matters that I do in my show. And if you have a look at the website, you will not get tired of it. It's so engaging. And all the features, I call it the love package when I introduce my show. And I say I'm bringing you a love package of, and then I select what I want from the website. But these 5 are my main features that I use. So I love being a DJ, and I love celebrating music, and radio allows me to express myself.
Yes, we can really tell that you can
you tell?
Yeah, you have a passion
yes.
for it.
And I think that is really nice how you have different sections for different things, how interactive the people listening can get, and also especially with like the horoscopes, because it's so it's like so in lately.
Yeah,
it is.
And I feel like so many people are interested.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone's interested in horoscopes.
That's it. Now, I'm glad you said that, because many people are interested, because like I stopped doing that feature because I thought people weren't interested, but you should never assume anything, because then I had my listeners phoning in, texting in, sending me text messages in the studio saying, why have you stopped that feature? I really love that feature. So it's nice to get that feedback. But as radio presenters, we don't usually get that feedback. People never tell us how we're doing, what we're doing. I mean, the only people that will know is radio management, because they go on the figures of people who are listening and engaging. But it's good to hear from your listeners. And the good thing about this as well is you will get loads of silent listeners. And what I found through my process is that I've started getting the silent listeners to call in, text in now, which is good.
That's really
because
nice.
They know who you are, but we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So that's my way of engaging with them.
Well, this is really inspiring. Like, I really get.
Thank you.
So, how has this hobby affected your lifestyle?
Right. This hobby, to be fair, it hasn't really affected my lifestyle, because we've all got a couple of hours that we can spare during the day. And most of us spend it sleeping or resting or just watching television, being fat couch potatoes and things like that. So this hobby is basically me time. And it's a great way for me to spend my spare time and unwind from my daily routine. It's good for my mental well-being as well, and my mental health as well. And it makes me feel happier, because you can tell from the grin on my face. And I actually like doing something and giving something back to the community, and that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that you actually really enjoy and it makes you feel happy.
That's it.
I feel like if you didn't enjoy it as much as you do, maybe it wouldn't have lasted for as long as it has.
I don't think it would have. That's right.
Yeah, because we can tell that you enjoy it a lot.
Thank you.
So, would you say this hobby is very time demanding? And if so, how do you manage your time?
Well, having full-time work is very demanding, where you're having to juggle your work, your social life, your home life, your family life, and things like that.
Yeah.
But this hobby is the opposite for me, because I'm more in control, and I have set hours, like I said, and I split that up into prep time on the day before my show actually starts, and it's more meaningful and enjoyable for me in doing it in that way. So with my hobby, I'm a fan of music therapy, shall I say? And music can help you to manage your emotions. You can cope with stress, and it's also a great way to connect with the listeners as well. So that's my key.
Yeah, I think it's really nice that, well, you have your full-time job during the day, and then during the late hours you can actually get a chance to talk to so many different people. And I think that like the support system that you may get is really nice to have.
And you're probably like making so many people's days, like when they get home from work.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they can
yeah.
listen to you.
I mean, I have a gentleman who goes by the name of Parminder. He always rings in. He goes, "Oh, you're so inspiring. I love your love topics. I love the way you do your program." So it's nice that you got these regular callers who you remember, and you can quickly say their name, and like, you know, you can sort of reflect on where they're coming from, and it gives you an extra buzz. That's why I use the word buzz. It does give me a buzz, because when you're inspiring someone, you know you're doing something good, and you're delivering something out to the community, and you're educating people. That's the most important thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any technical skills you've had to rely on before you started?
Well, to be honest, I didn't have any training or on the studio equipment before I started. So I was co-hosting like yourselves. I started off there, and then when I got thrown on the desk, that's when I started to learn on the job. And that's where I learned how to use the equipment, like the faders, how to operate the microphone, how to load music, and how to use the phone, and things like that. So my training mainly came when I was like sitting with another presenter. I was co-hosting, and then I used to sit and I used to observe. Used to see what he used to do. His name was Peter P. I started off with him. I used to do a morning show with him called The Swap Shop, hence The Swap Shop in London Radio. So that's why I've introduced that here. So, yeah, that's it really.
I think it's really nice when you actually get to teach yourself, when then you have it stuck in your mind, and
that's right.
You know exactly how to do things.
I think the best way to learn is by doing it yourself, I think,
Yeah.
Or being thrown in the deep end.
Yeah, because then you have to learn.
Yes. So do you think that there's like a personality type that would not be as well suited if they wanted to take this as a career?
100%. I think personality types are an important role in helping a person to obtain a well-suited career. Now, in media, you could have, like you said in your text message, you could have like an extrovert or an introvert, and everyone has some degree of openness, personality, and they also have different skill sets. So who would have thought, for example, on here, the legal eagle, our solicitors would be presenting the legal clinic, and even the doctors on the health clinic as well. So we all have different traits, and we all have different skill sets, and when we put our mind to anything, anything's possible, like they say. I mean, look at you teen hosts, for example. Who would have thought that you would be doing your own show?
No, I never imagine it.
That's it.
Never. I think like we would listen to the radio all the time on, like when we were on car journeys. It's like from a young age, and you're always like, oh, how would they feel? How is it like?
Oh, it must be so fun. Like, all these celebrities and everything. It's crazy.
It is.
Yes. I think also like when we first start, we're so nervous. We've never done it before, as may you have been as well. And so then I think as you get started, it becomes a lot more natural.
It does.
And I think loads of people can surprise you with the amount of
definitely
like confidence they have.
Are there any expectations you had about this industry that you have found differed to reality in both a good way and a bad way?
Well, having fallen into the media industry, I think I've grabbed every opportunity for it to work my way for the shows that I'm delivering. I've been quite lucky as the shows that I have been involved with. They're quite very unique, and they've never been done on an Asian radio station, hence the longevity of it. In all, it's been good. Where on Radio XL, I do the Love Express, and in the live shows, everything can happen, from an artist or guest cancelling, as we found out from last week, to power cuts. I've even had a sort of an earthquake tremor later at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you experience different things, and different things happen, especially when you're going out live. I've also had the privilege of doing 2 shows on Ramadan Radio Wolves as well, Lou's Sisters, as you might know, and also In Conversation With. Those have been challenging, and it was good to hear that they have gone down really well as well.
Mhm.
So now you can find me on the Swap Shop on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So, as you've said, you've experienced so many different things. So, what skills have you required from being on the radio for like so long?
How long have you got?
Uh,
Right, on a serious note, I think mainly, most importantly, it's having a good voice, listening and communication skills.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing that in your roles currently. Knowledge of media is good, but you can learn that on the job, like I said.
yeah.
Production as well, the software packages and the communication. It's like Brother Khalid, who was saying, you should get them to drive the desk.
Yeah.
So, all that comes with time as well. So as long as you're getting comfortable behind the mic, first of all,
Yeah.
that's more important. Once you're comfortable behind the mic, that's when you can step over onto the mix and do things as well. I think the ability as well to use your own initiative as well,
Yeah.
and how you modulate that according to the situation, and things like that. And I think you girls are pretty good at doing that as well.
Thank you.
With help from you, obviously, from like last week.
I'm
we would have been.
And I think most important as well, you've got to have a good sense of humour
Yes,
as well.
definitely.
You've got to be creative in this role as well,
Yeah.
spontaneous. You've got to have good knowledge of music if you're playing music. I mean,
Yeah.
here we do nasheeds and things like that. You need to know about the music, the artist as well. And most importantly, like you do your subject matter, that's more important as well.
Yeah.
You need to know what your topic is about, because you don't want somebody to ring in and ask you a question and you're going, okay,
Yeah.
You don't want to give that impression. You've got to be,
Yeah.
like I said, you've got to be spontaneous. You've got to be having a friendly nature as well. That's
Yeah.
more
Yes,
important.
definitely.
And I think the other thing is you have to have the ability to accept criticism
Yeah.
Mm.
as well, especially when you're working under pressure as well, because bad criticism can always turn into good criticism as well.
Mhm.
So with regards to that as well, I think being flexible, open to change through paying attention to detail and things like that. So as long as you've got those skill sets, you're ready to roll.
Yeah, I think that is really nice, especially with like viewers. Their participation is really important.
Yeah.
And with everything that you've said, like especially with sense of humor,
Mm.
you kind of need to like think what they would want to hear.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because obviously they're your audience.
Yeah, it's
so-
all about the experience for them. I
That's
think.
it. And remember, you got to keep them engaged.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
Yes.
subject matter has to be relevant
Yeah.
and of interest to them as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like with anything, if someone doesn't want to hear it,
They're
they
not gonna
won't.
listen.
They won't.
Yeah.
Because you'll just find they'll switch the radio off and that's
Yeah.
it. Their
Yeah.
interest is lost.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think like especially with like even with YouTube, with platforms like this,
Mm.
once their content isn't as great,
Yeah.
you lose interest and sometimes you may never come back.
True.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And with criticism as well, I think that's a really important thing.
It is, yeah.
I think with anything,
Yeah.
really, but you need to like not feel that it's not take it to heart.
Yeah,
as
that's
such.
the thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't improve without criticism.
True. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question is, what do you wish you'd known before you started this?
Like I said, I stumbled into this career, not knowing anything about it, and I picked it up as I went along. I had no expectations from it because obviously I wasn't aware of what the role would be and what it will entail as well.
Yeah.
So there was no specific qualifications to become a radio presenter. So again, for me, if I wanted to, I could have studied anything and I could have ended up on radio as well. But it helps if you do go around about things in the right way. So what I would say is that had I known about media and radio and stuff like that, and it did interest me at a younger age, I think I would have pursued it.
And that's
Yeah,
really
that's
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes things can just happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the point of the show, isn't it? We're trying to give everyone experience of different hobbies. And
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, like at school, I remember taking drama,
Yeah.
and we did our own production, and I actually did our own cooking show. And then it didn't click to me then that, oh, this is a good area to be in, because when you're at
Yeah.
school, you're going through so much
Yeah,
different things, so
exactly.
much different subject matter, and you just totally get lost. And you get, well, in my time, we had no guidance whatsoever which
Yeah.
career
Yeah.
paths to take.
Mm.
But now you've got like work experience placements. You could go out, you could like
Yeah.
question the people, you could have a day at the office. You could do like a father-mother role where the mother can become you, and you could
Yeah.
become the mother, and you could be in her workplace and
Yeah.
pretend you're doing her work, which our workplace allows us to do
Yeah.
that. So it gives you a bit of a taste of the career and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we never had that in our time, but now I sort of say to the children, and I say to everyone, you know, make sort of a stance. Know which direction you're going in. Go out, work experience, trial out whatever you can,
Yeah.
and take it from there.
Yeah, I think especially with schools, they don't actually reinforce or actually enforce things like this. So
Yeah.
I think it's really nice how you ended up.
Okay, so we're going to go into a
That.
break, right?
Okay.
And I'm sure we're going to be coming back to more questions. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to Ramadan Radio. I am your teen host Shehreen.
And I'm your teen host Lybah. Welcome back to our Teens Talk Show. Just a reminder, our telephone number is 01902 972 150 and our WhatsApp number is 07440 420 432. But remember, you cannot call on WhatsApp.
Yes, so before the break, we were discussing questions. We were giving questions to our guest Alvina Ali about her hobby that she does, which is in the media. So if we'll carry on with those. So what kind of education, training or background does this field require?
It could be a level 2 certificate in music technology. It could be a certificate level 2 in radio as well. And also there is level 3, which is diploma in creative and digital media as well. And then there's also a diploma and certificate course in radio jockeying as well. It's not horse racing, by the way. So this is radio jockeying. And also there's a diploma and postgraduate diploma as well in radio programming and broadcast management as well. And like I said, volunteering is the best thing to start off at radio because radio can open up many doors for you. And when you start volunteering at the radio, they can send you on relevant courses and they could pay you for doing them as well. So that's the best route to go down, really.
Yeah, I think with radio especially, it's not necessary that you have to have a certificate or like study specifically based on like the radio. I think though it can give a really good insight of so many different other medias that maybe you can explore after the radio.
Definitely.
And like you said, all those skills, I think those are more important than having like a certificate.
Yes. Yeah. And English language is most important.
English.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so what kind of tough decisions did you make?
I think when you're running your own show and stuff like that, you have to make sure that everything is going according to plan, especially with regards to timing and especially your guests and artists and that the interviews and everything has been prepared for. I can see you live gritting your teeth there. So I think that's crucial. I think like last week, for example, your guest couldn't appear due to unforeseen circumstances. And this is where you have to make the tough decision what to do, whether you just scrap the interview or whether you step in with another idea and things like that. And again, you teen hosts actually learned quite quickly from that. And I think you did quite well just improvising on the spot. So again, it's all about choosing the right people to work with as well. That's more important. Now, one of the hardest decisions that I've had to make was choosing between 2 strong team members as well for a promotion. So I personally liked one person better than the other, but then I had to choose the person who I thought had the best ideas because they were more experienced. So it's things like that. And it's also when you're promoting your younger artists as well over someone who's a lot senior, who's been in the business a long time, you have to sort of decide who you're going to feature first and then who you're going to feature second. So I usually go for a bit of a mix of both, really. So I try and split my interviews and make them a bit more fair, where I've got the young as well as the legends on my show as well.
So what is your favourite part of the experience that the radio brings, and is there anything you are excited for in the future?
Good question. Now, as you know, I'm always up for a challenge and bringing originality into my shows as well. So I love that, and I can engage with almost anyone from an A-listener celebrity, like I mentioned, Priyanka Chopra, to my younger listeners as well. So my radio shows allow me to introduce my own brand. For example, I talked about Dosti with DJ Ashki, where I put an artist into the spotlight and I interview them as well. And I think the other thing is where I've created my own website. Being part of the radio over the 18 odd years, I've created my brand. I wanted to get it out of there. So if you peeps want to check it out, you can. It's the 3 W's. It's djashki.com. And like they say, the future is bright. So watch this space.
Is there a quote that motivates you?
There's many quotes,
Yeah.
but no quote for me, unfortunately. But my parents are my best motivators, I've got to say. I have a great family. I've got a loving partner, and I live a truly privileged life. So what more could anyone ask for, really?
Exactly.
So due to my parents' generosity as well, I think if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would be in this position today, to be fair, because they've helped me to go to university. But obviously you have to put in the work, you have to graduate, you've got to find a job in turn, and obviously end up with a fantastic career as well. So for me, every luxury that was ever granted to me in my childhood was motivation for me to work harder. And also for me to continue to have those luxuries, because let's face it, our parents aren't going to be there all the time, are they?
Yes.
So once you've tasted the good life, why would you want it to let go of it? That's what I always say. So the life of extravagance, obviously it comes with a price, and that's hard work. So I've got to say, I do admire my parents for their work ethics, and I've got to thank them personally, because I have a grand appreciation basically for every privilege and indulgence as well to which I have been treated, and I know that I've got a blessed life as well, and if you have parents that love you and give you everything, then you should be able to say that as well. And I'm sure your parents do that, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, is there anyone who you would look up to other than maybe your parents or siblings?
You know what? I'm going to say parents again.
Parents.
Okay.
Because you know what? Without my parents, them being my pillar of strength, they are my teachers. They're my guide. They're my friends. They're my best friends. Even my best friends wouldn't be able to give me the advice that my parents give me. So growing up, my father has taught me many valuable lessons, specifically to be kind to everyone and to never give up. So my dad, as many people know, he's the kindest man that anyone has ever met, even I've met as well. And he never talks bad about anyone or about others as well. And he's always there to help people. And he always tries to do the right thing, no matter what the cost is to himself. And I think I've got those traits in me as well. And where my mother is concerned, she's my superhero. She's my best friend. She's my role model. She's my rock. And she's the most important people in my life as well, who has been that I have been motivated by as well in life. Now, my mother used to work hard day and night. I used to see that because obviously she wanted to ensure that her children got the best in life, and we were comfortable and that we were studying well and things like that. So with every decision I've made, I think to myself, what would my mom do if I had to decide on doing something and she wasn't there? And I know that she will always make the right choices. And then you have to think like your mom. Do you ever get into that position where you have to think like your mom, thinking, oh God, what would my mom would have done if she was in a situation like that? So she is my sort of rock, like I said, because obviously she's taught me to be the person that I am today, and I've learned not to waste my time on people that don't treat me right. And she doesn't even let people walk all over her, which I've noticed because my mom's quite gobby like me. And I've taken that lesson to heart basically, and she has shown me resilience as well. And she's shown me the strength as well. And I've seen her go through hard times as well. And her strength has taught me life can be remarkable, because obviously she's a fighter, and she never gives up no matter how hard it gets as well. So every day my mom inspires me to the best that I can be, and the world needs more women, I think, like our moms.
Definitely.
Because obviously with their support, their drive, their strength as well, and their heart cannot be found just anywhere. So I'm blessed to call her my mom. So you hear kids say they want to be just like mummy, don't you? Right. So when they grow up, well, I'm grown up, but I still want to be just like her. So I've got to say that my parents are
Yeah.
the ones who really inspire you.
I think it's really inspiring how much you look up to them and the amount of gratitude that you have. I feel like when people get popular or they have some fame, they discard the people who
They
brought
do.
them
They
to
discard
that.
family, relatives, everything. Because sometimes what I find with people, I mean, okay, if you're doing well in life, all be good. Because obviously then some people start going into materialistic things and they start showing people, oh, I can have this and that and everything. And my parents always used to say to me, never look at what other people have got.
Yeah, my mom says that too.
As long as you work hard and you have halal kamai and stuff like that, then God will give you more and you can reach to the stars and you can have whatever you want. And by slip of your fingers and stuff like that. So I think there's always good lessons to be learned from your parents because remember they've gone through the hard times and we're quite lucky that we're British born here and that we've got the parents that we have today who can guide us and teach us which paths to go down.
I think like with us it's like sometimes a bit stereotypical that we have to go into a very professional job like especially with us it's like you have to become a doctor or a dentist and things like that, but I feel like with our parents, they're so open-minded. They don't push or force you to go to something you don't want to do. I think they really understand that if you have a passion for something, you can do so much better and feel so much more happier than if it's something you don't want to do.
Because they obviously want the best life for you, so they're going to do everything they can.
That's right. Yes, that's it.
And I feel like when you gain fame as well, you lose the people that were there for you at the start. I feel like,
yeah.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Best piece of advice, I think again it's got to be from my dad, and he always used to say to me, he goes, don't compare yourself to other people, because there is so much freedom in just being yourself, and believe in who you are as well. Follow your heart. He always used to stress that you must always pray and you must always remember Allah, not only in your good times but also in your bad times as well.
I think because I feel like when you're going through bad times, that's when you turn to Allah and be like, oh, why is this happening to me? But then when you're like in good times, you don't really think about it.
You don't think, do you? And you don't thank him as well. Exactly. So, you know, in a way, God pushes us to say, hello, I'm here. You know what I mean? Because we're so busy in our lives and the jobs and the roles that we're doing. And then we think, we don't even think about God, I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Because you're just so engulfed in whatever you're doing. And my dad always used to say, take the time out. You know, you got 5 times of prayers and stuff like that. You know, do it. It's only going to take a couple of seconds. You're not going to lose anything and stuff. So if I were you, definitely. Follow those steps.
He's provided everything for us. You can never forget that, because he can take it away from you faster than
that's
you can
right.
think.
We'd be nothing without him.
That's true. That's true.
So what advice would you give to someone who one day wants to be in your shoes?
Don't wish, be a doer. That's what I would suggest to them. And don't ever stop learning as well, or experimenting or going down a different route, because if you have a passion for something, pursue it. If, like they said, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, so never stop. You know, people say you've got a dream, but I don't always think that dreams come true, because you have to work hard. I usually say have a vision. I never say dream. I always say have a vision, think which direction you're going to go at, and follow it, pursue it, and work towards it, and you'll get there, inshallah, one day.
Inshallah.
Yeah, that's really nice advice, especially for like very new beginners or people who are considering coming like into this field, or so many other fields in the media. It's like an expectation that the first time you go on, you're going to get so many viewers, which is hardly ever the case. You need to build up yourself, and then and then
build a relationship with your viewers.
Definitely. Talking about building relationship with viewers, you've got a couple of Facebook messages, haven't you? Shall we give them a shout out for taking the time out?
Okay, so we have a message from Sahir that says a very good Shehreen.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
we also have a message from, is it Rob?
Rob Nawaz.
Yes. And he said that it's really nice to see you and you stay blessed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Uncle Rob Nawaz. So lovely comments there. So you understand where I'm coming from now. So because we're presenters and we're doing the program, we always have to acknowledge people.
Yeah.
We take the time out to comment on Facebook, whether it's on WhatsApp or whether it's on the phone, because you give them that piece of belonging.
Yeah.
You're part of their life. You're part of their family, literally, and stuff like that. So whatever you're doing, spreading the good messages across the airwaves, it's making someone, you're inspiring someone, and something is good coming out of that, and you'll be rewarded.
Definitely.
Yes.
So do you think that there are too many or few people entering the radio industry?
I think there's always an opportunity for anyone to enter the radio industry. I don't think there's few. I think there's quite a lot of people who are going in that direction. Because when I was young and I was growing up, going to school, I used to listen to Sonia Deal on Radio XL and Adil Ray as well, because Radio XL was one of the first Asian serving radio stations ever in the UK. And to date, I'm proud to be part of them as well. And presenters like Sonia Deal and Adil Ray, they've paved their way. And they've made it big. Obviously, Sonia, she got married. She's moved to Canada. Adil Ray, you'll see him on TV. He does Mr. Khan as well, doesn't he? Citizen Khan, isn't it? Yes, Citizen Khan, where he plays the character Mr. Khan. So he's really done well for himself. And look at them where they started.
Exactly.
They started at Radio XL. And, from that start, they've sort of carried on with their careers. They've had a goal in mind and they says, right, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to go and stuff like that, and they've done it. They worked their way through it. It's achievable, and I think anybody could do it.
Yes. As we're obviously the technology is progressing and we have different platforms like YouTube and things like that, do you think the radio is becoming less common, or is it still how it used to be?
You know what? I wouldn't say that the radio is becoming less common, because in the cars, people have got USB sticks. How many times do you listen to your USB stick when you're in the car? You get bored of listening to the same music, don't you? And then you want to change, and what do? You switch your radio on. I wouldn't say radio's going to sort of phase out. It will never phase out, because you have people in factories who are working. They'll have the radio on in the background. And then you've got yourselves, whether you're like, studying at home and you put your earphones on and you're listening to the radio. I think radio is a good medium really for anyone to tune in, because if it wasn't, I don't think Ramadan Radio would be here online.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And again, through radio, we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, we're streaming on there as well. So it's just a different way that we can go out there and we can connect with the public. And I think that's what the public needs, are different ways, even tuning apps. So I can't see radio phasing out. I think it's the way forward online.
Definitely, yeah.
So it was, I think that's really important for people to remember that even though we have so many different things now, before, there wasn't much out there, as you said, when you were growing up. So I think, as you've said, radio is it's like an OG platform.
It is original.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that can't go out of style. Like, it'll always be there.
It can't. And I think with radio, there's so much to do behind the scenes and when you're in front of the mic as well. And even for you girls, I mean, if I throw a question back at you girls, how have you finding it co-hosting?
In my opinion, I think that it's really nice, especially with developing my own skills. Before, I think I was quite shy. I didn't like talking, especially like public talking, even though I know that I'm not in front of a crowd, but I still know that I have people listening to me. I think that it's really helped develop with these different skills. But I also really enjoy people asking different questions to us. It's nice for someone to actually want to have our advice, because it feels like it makes us feel special.
That's good. And your confidence builds as well. So if someone's no good at public speaking,
Yeah.
then again, your confidence is building up. You're sort of, letting yourself in being in control of the mic. You've got your subject matter in front of you. You know the subject matter that you're going to be covering and what you're going to be airing, what you're going to be talking about. So it just boosts your confidence levels up, doesn't it?
So when we get like a message, it inspires us so much. Like, people are actually listening to us.
Yeah, so
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can understand where I said the word buzz, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So
it just motivates you a bit more further, doesn't it?
Yeah. So speaking of messages, we've got a message from Isha saying, very interesting interview, girls, keep it up.
Thank you.
It's like messages like this help us become better and stronger.
Yeah.
And don't feel a need to always like a compliment. We will always accept criticism and different things that you want to hear, because we're here because of you.
And for me, when like starting this, my biggest insecurity was my voice, as like everyone knows. So then my voice being the whole like thing of this, so then I'm just like, it just inspires me. So like I never thought I'd have this confidence to do this.
That's good. That's good to hear. So there are benefits then for you
definitely.
girls, aren't there, from learning outside the classroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because being in a working environment like this, you've picked up different skill sets yourselves as well, as you've been talking about and stuff. So it's good to see that, and you're getting the hands-on experience as well.
Yeah.
You're being quite interactive, and you can build all this up within your classroom learning as well, can't you?
I think especially with us being so young, still going to school, we're in secondary school, we were first quite worried about what will other people say, what will people in that class say if they find it somehow. And it's just like that knowing that what would the criticism and what they would say. But as we've started, we've got such nice people who are commenting, giving us.
That's really good.
Like it helps boost our confidence.
So I won't say like the fear is completely gone, but I feel like it's eased a bit, because as we progress more, like in the morning I'm like, oh, I have a show today. I get excited for the day, and I'm like, oh, it's something fun now. Like before I used to get scared, but now I find it enjoyable.
That's good. We've got 40 seconds of the show, so do you want to wind down?
So thank you so much for being
You're
our
welcome.
guest.
Thank you for having me.
I think loads of our listeners will be really interested of what you have to say. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what can we expect next week?
So next week we are still having our series of extracurricular activities and like beyond just school learning and like school things, so you can keep your mind occupied instead of just being bored at home.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will see you on the Teens Talk Show next week on Saturday from 3 till 4.